Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today to read and talk about God. We are in the Catholic Bible. We're continuing on today, reading Exodus chapter 7. If you're following along chronologically, it is day 29 in our Bible in a Year 10-minute daily Bible reading video series. My name's Caroline. And we'll just go ahead and get started in reading the Bible. So important to get daily Bible time in. So I'm so glad you're here joining me. Chapter 7. Moses and Aaron obey God's commands. The Lord said to Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron shall be your prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and your brother Aaron shall tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go out of his land. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and I will multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. When Pharaoh does not listen to you, I will lay my hand upon Egypt and bring my people, the Israelites, company by company, out of the land of Egypt by great acts of judgment. The Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites out from among them." Moses and Aaron did so. They did just as the Lord commanded them. Moses was 80 years old and Aaron 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. Aaron's miraculous rod. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When Pharaoh says to you, 'Perform a wonder,' then you shall say to Aaron, 'Take your staff and throw it down before Pharaoh, and it will become a snake.'" So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did as the Lord had commanded. Aaron threw down his staff before Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a snake. Then Pharaoh summoned the wise men and the sorcerers, and they also, the magicians of Egypt, did the same by their secret arts. Each one threw down his staff, and they became snakes. But Aaron's staff swallowed up theirs. Still, Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he would not listen to them, as the Lord had said. The first plague, water turned to blood. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning, as he is going out to the water. Stand by at the riverbank to meet him, and take in your hand the staff that was turned into a snake. Say to him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, sent me to you to say, let my people go, so that they may worship me in the wilderness. But until now you have not listened. Thus says the Lord, by this you shall know that I am the Lord. See, with the staff that is in my hand, I will strike the water that is in the Nile, and it shall be turned to blood. The fish in the river shall die, the river itself shall stink, and the Egyptians shall be unable to drink water from the Nile." The Lord said to Moses, "Say to Aaron, take your staff and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over its rivers, its canals, and its ponds, and all its pools of water, so that they may become blood. And there shall be blood throughout the whole land of Egypt, even in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone." Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded. In the sight of Pharaoh and of his officials, he lifted up the staff and struck the water in the river. And all the water in the river was turned into blood, and the fish in the river died. The river stank so that the Egyptians could not drink its water, and there was blood throughout the whole land of Egypt. But the magicians of Egypt did the same by their secret arts. So Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, and he would not listen to them, as the Lord had said. Pharaoh turned and went into his house, and he did not take even this to heart. And all the Egyptians had to dig along the Nile for water to drink, for they could not drink the water of the river. 7 days passed after the Lord had struck the Nile. So there we have it. We have in chapter 7, God is directing Aaron and Moses, telling Moses, who then speaks to Aaron, and then they do these actions that God is telling them specifically what to do. Moses, as we've seen in the prior chapters, is so fearful. He's already gone to Pharaoh once, and he is doubtful of his own abilities. And so, quite normal, right? We're all like this. God tells us things and we want to obey, but we are mortal, we are normal, we have fears. And so we see here that God is trying to be patient with Moses and Aaron and telling them specifically what to say to Pharaoh and what to do. And yet, God has put in Pharaoh's mind, he's hardened his heart, as God would say. He's warned Moses about this in advance. I will harden Pharaoh's heart so he will not let you go. God is making a setup for himself, for his glory to come through at the right time. And he's stepping these going down this path, right? He's making these steps down the path to Pharaoh and Moses and Aaron, and he's directing their steps and what will happen. And so we come upon Aaron and this staff, this rod, right? He tells Moses to tell Aaron to lay the staff down and it will turn into a snake. Unfortunately, the Pharaoh has his own magicians, paganism, magicians. Whenever there was anything that the Pharaoh wanted to do, he would turn to his magicians and sorcerers, prophets, his own prophets, his officials, right? They would interpret his dreams. They would do magic tricks. They would please the Pharaoh, entertain him. And so, and he looked to them kind of as guides, right? The Pharaoh, they would look at the stars, they would look at the sun, they would look at these things and try to interpret what they meant. And so we have these magicians step in and they are able to do the snake trick just the same, right? And, if you look at today's time period, there's a lot of like sorcery and all of these things. So this continued throughout history, right? Divination, getting your fortunes told, right? There's fortune tellers out there. They're all interpreting messages of the universe and of their gods. And we see that even today. But the magicians of Pharaoh are able to do the same trick with the snakes. However, Aaron's snakes ate the snakes of the Pharaohs. But Pharaoh still was not, it didn't faze him. And he continued on. And so God says that he will bring this first plague. We're going to see 10 plagues. The first being the blood water in the Nile. And he warns Pharaoh. He says, to Moses, you go to Pharaoh and you tell him, you have not listened. Let my people go. Because you will not let my people go, the Nile will run red with blood. And we see for 7 days that it has in fact happened. All of the rivers, the Nile River, of course, but all the tributaries, all of the, their vessels, right? Because you would pull water out with a stone vessel or a wooden vessel, and all the water had turned red, and it lasted for 7 days. And even the Israelites had to search for water because of this plague. So this was a plague that was across Egypt, and the Israelites, they had the same thing happen to them. There was no separation there. This was a plague of the blood in the water for 7 days. And so we start to see this period of this trial, tribulation, right? That God is bringing upon the Egyptians and Pharaoh specifically to show the power of God. Now, unfortunately, as well, the magicians are back at it, and they are able to make water, turn water into blood. And so Pharaoh, seeing that the magicians could do the same thing, he's just not moved by it. He didn't even take it to heart. And so, but God is orchestrating all of this. Remember, this is God directing the steps. He knows this is going to happen. Of course, God knows everything, right? Past, present, future. But he also is directing these steps because he wants to bring about his greatest glory here. This is the setup we start to see in chapter 7. I hope that you enjoyed this reading and this short discussion of the Bible, Exodus chapter 7. We're going to continue on with Exodus chapter 8 starting tomorrow. And of course, we'll continue on with the plagues in Egypt and the freedom for the Israelites, the Exodus. So I hope that you all have a good rest of your day. Like, subscribe, comment, prayer intentions. I would love to be able to pray for you. And I hope that you all have a good rest of your day.